remember, some of you were younger, but it used to be when you applied for a job, you had to like fill out a paper application. Anybody remember that? And you had to list all your old jobs, and then there'd be a box, reason for leaving. But they just give you a little box. There's a whole long story, right? So I left my first job. I left when I ran off to Colorado with a 3-finger cellist. And what happened was, it all started when I was 15, is when I first met him. His name was Sebastian. He was my first love, and he was kind of a badass. Like, he was always just on the brink of getting in real trouble, like stupid trouble, like smoking or not having a hall pass, or one time we went to a band concert, and he threw a carton of chocolate milk into the tuba. Still cracks me up. Anyway, he was kind of bad, and he was kind of a misfit for a couple reasons. One, because he had blown off his pinky finger playing with fireworks when he was a kid. And what's that? Anyway, and one also because his father, he had was raised by a single mother. His father had been a jazz musician who'd kind of run off and to live a more bohemian lifestyle, and nobody did that in my neighborhood. You know, I didn't grow up in the East Village. We didn't have jazz musicians. I grew up on southeast side of Chicago by the steel mills, and fathers worked for the steel mills or in offices. They weren't jazz musicians, so nobody knew what to make of this kid. He was kind of bad. His father was a jazz musician. He had 3 fingers. But I was kind of a misfit, too, because I liked to read, and I didn't wear cute clothes, and you know, I didn't care about being popular, and so I started hanging out with Sebastian, and you know, his mother was never home, so we'd go to his house, and he would play the cello, and my mother kind of started to worry about me, because in those days, you guys are younger, but this was before the sexual revolution. In those days, there were good girls and there were bad girls. That was the deal, you know, and my mother, you know, and if you were. My mother gave me this book. She was worried. Ann Landers Talks to Teens. And it was just hundreds of pages of like these heart-wrenching letters from these girls who had ruined their lives by letting boys go too far. Like there was shame and regret. And this was very real to me. Like I knew if I let him go too far, I was casting my lot with the bad girls, with the sluts. And we used that word unironically. You know, I mean, I knew I would never marry one of the nice Jewish future dentists who were in my honors track classes, because I would be bad. I knew that. On the other hand, he played the cello. Okay? Bach suites. Have you... Oh. You know, I mean, he would play the cello, and it was, if you've read Wordsworth, aching joy and dizzy rapture. I was a geeky 15-year-old. I read a lot of Wordsworth, and there was, I mean, it was like, I thought, you know what? All those stories in Ann Landers, that's not going to happen to me. That's not going to happen to me. We're going to be in love forever. You know, I knew that because I saw it in writing, in my journal, you know, in purple ink, and so yeah. So I cast my lot with the bad girls right then and right there, and forever lasted until spring of sophomore year, when Sebastian called the geometry teacher a fascist and kind of walked out of school, and next thing I knew, I got a letter from him in juvie. He'd been locked up, and I didn't see him again. And I was heartbroken, but, you know, life goes on. I found a troubled bassoonist, you know, but... well, it wasn't really the same. So I didn't see him again, didn't know what happened to him until 8 years later. I got a call. I had my first job, okay? My first job, which was writing film strips to teach remedial math. You know, maybe you've seen my work, using decimals. So. It was a fun job because all my characters in my word problems had elaborate backstories. You know, I had a little fun. But anyway, he called in, and he moved in because he was living in a van, and he showed up with like 4 cellos and violins and all this, and he had found his father in Colorado, and he was going to go to Colorado as soon as he got some money together. So I got him a job laying down the soundtracks on these film strips. You know, so these using decimals has like an original score. It's and as soon as he got $200, we left. We just left and went to Colorado to see his father. And when we got there, found out his father was using cocaine, and so everybody started using cocaine, and I was like, okay, you know, if I use cocaine, I'll get skinny. Like, that's okay, but didn't happen. I just like started eating really, really fast. And and I'm actually probably the only person on the planet who doesn't like cocaine. Like, I like connecting with people, and you don't connect with people. So I came back home, and I had to get a new job, and I'm filling out the application, and it said reason for leaving. I just wrote cello. Thank you.